Those of you sitting directly behind me don't have those yellow stripes, so instead just come up and knock on my window right back here to grab my attention. You can also wave at me, I'll see you through the mirrors, or ask one of your neighbors sitting behind you to press the yellow stripes over their heads. But stay seated while this vehicle is moving. You can stand to grab pictures when we are completely paused, and I can let you know when it is okay to do so. But before I get on with the rest of the video,
Mira,
take a look
record
over
video.
on our driver's side to the left of the vehicle. There's giraffes out. This is the East African habitat. There's rhinos out towards the palm trees there, more towards the left side as well. Looks like the care side is doing some work with the giraffes right now, crossing the sea. We're going to come back to the
Hey,
species
mira,
so we can
record
take
video.
a little see them and the three baby giraffes out there as well. Look at that, three at a time though. That's a lot. Super cool, isn't it? Look at the size of them next to one of the other
Hey,
ones.
mira, record video.
That's cute. Anyway, but continuing with the rules, keep all arms, legs, hands, and feet inside this vehicle at all times. And very importantly, folks, hold on to any loose items you got. Hats, keys, glasses, wallets, phones, any of that. If it falls overboard onto the road, wave goodbye to it. Unfortunately, we can't stop the tour to pick up your items. So fold them. And last but not least, use your inside voices. Put your phones on silent. We're good to go. Now, over on our left side on this hill right here, you guys see this really big antelope here? Species, the roan antelope. I'm going to mention them probably a little bit later because we're going to see some of their distant relatives later on in the tour. But below us over on our passenger side now, we've also got some flamingos, specifically greater flamingos whose feathers are much lighter in color than other flamingo species. That is actually by nature. It helps them blend in so the salt flats they come from a little bit better. Also helps them reflect back sunlight and heat and stay fairly nice and cool, withstand the hot temperatures that they do live in. It's basically the same as us wearing a white t-shirt on a hot day, which of course today is a bit warmer, not too bad though. Great day to wear some lighter colors, but also a beautiful day to come visit here at the safari park. So thank you guys for doing so. And if you are visiting for the very first time, don't forget to check out Elephant Valley. That just opened up last month. It is the newest upgrade here at the safari park. Some good views of those elephants out there. And also, don't forget to see the platypus. They're the only zoo outside of Australia that has any. And I like bragging about that, to be honest. I think you guys should go out to the Australia walkabout section of the park, grab a picture of the platypus, and brag it to everybody you know too. But in the meantime, though, we've got some more birds over on our driver's side here. Notably, some vultures hanging out in front of that wooden fence back there on the left. You see them underneath the shade there. Now, amongst them, also living in the habitat, some crowned crane, yellow stork, and some hornbills in there somewhere. They like to hide though. But those vultures back there are from Africa. In fact, they are Rupels, Lapis, and Cape vultures, three different species of them, all from Africa. Like I said, although vultures are found all over the world, even here in the southwest of the U.S., occasionally you'll find the turkey vulture. Speaking of south, this is the South African habitat next to us. Just a loop around it. I see giraffe all the way out there already. Perfect. Let's go up to them and see who else we can find along the way here. Take a look over on your passenger side there, all the way uphill across from us, like directly across. You guys see the zebras out there? This is the only area to see zebras probably at the safari park right now, by the way. So get a look at them. But there are four of them. Four Grevy's zebras, by the way. They are the most attractive of all the zebra species. Also the most endangered. That's why the ones up there are part of the species survival plan. The SSP for short. It's a plan shared by many organizations across the world to help different species get their numbers up. Those whose numbers have declined significantly, with hopes, of course, to be able to reintroduce some of them back out into the wild someday. But more on that a little bit later. Let me just make sure this gate behind us closes right before we head forward. It looks like it is. Yep, perfect. All right, in this habitat here, on our right, as you're moving forward, on the left side of the habitat, through the trees, you'll find some more birds. You see crowned crane immediately below. In the very back, also some more vultures. They like hanging out under the shade of trees on these sunnier days, which I mean I would too, to be honest. But let's visit their next door neighbors. They're a little more out and about for us. And also slowly drive by the area here on the right so you guys all get a proper chance to see this really cool antelope species right here. This is the Addicts. They've got the spiraling horns there. They come from the Sahara. They are so well adapted to dryness and heat that they can theoretically grow their antelope I briefly mentioned earlier, we saw like two of them for a sec. They are distant relatives of these guys here on our right, the addax, and also distant relatives of both of these antelope over on our left. This gray one here, the gemsbok, and the dark brown ones here, the sable antelope. Let me pull up a little more and I'll go over them as well. I just want to pull up a little bit more because baby sable antelope is out right now. So we'll start off with the sable antelope. They're awesome. What can I say? But they got the dark brown color. Those horns curved backwards. The one over on the right side by itself, they're facing away. That is the male. And they've got a little baby out there as well in the center. For those of you in the back that can't see, I'll pull up in just a sec here. But across the way there, the gemsbok as well, the gray antelope with the really long horns. Their name can also be pronounced gemsbok, comes from the Dutch. And they are also known as the South African oryx. Oryx is how you spell that. They come from the oryx family of antelope, which the oryx family, the sable family here, the addax on the right, and the roan antelope that we saw earlier are the four antelope that are distant relatives of each other. They fall under this umbrella of shared ancestors and are considered horse antelope, which means they have horse-like bodies. But the gemsbok back there, being part of the oryx family, there's actually four different members of that oryx family. We might see one a little bit later, another one that is. Hopefully it'll be out for us. Otherwise, so let's move forward a little bit. For those of you in the back there, you can probably see the little baby. Now, on the left there, super tiny. She's only about 7 months old, I want to say. She's still got a lot of growing up to do. For the first month or two of her life, her mom would keep her tucked away behind trees and rocks and other really big things, so she would be safe and hidden from any potential predators around. Granted, though, there are none of them in these habitats, but that is a natural behavior that all antelope and deer species of this world do, and it's nice to see here within this aquatic park. That means the species around are very comfortable with their area. But going uphill there, in the middle of it, you guys see a little tiny antelope up there. That is the springbok, who gets its name from the springing that they'll occasionally do. They do it more so out in the wild because they use it to escape their own main predators, the cheetah. But in here, they'll do it sometimes as well just to show off, or maybe to just burn off a little energy when they got a ton of it. But let's move forward. Got the giraffe across the way and the two baby giraffe as well. These ones are older than the ones we saw earlier in the East African habitat. The two babies across the way are almost a full year old. In fact, Matope, the male, which is the one standing there under the shade of the tree. And
Right here, right here,
you're
here.
welcome to stand up, grab some pictures if you like. But Matope, the boy, is going to be a year in a few days, I believe. And just next to him, his younger half sister Sabira will be turning a year at the start of next month. So they're very, very close to that. But these two and the other four giraffe that are in here are all Maasai giraffe. Their fur color is a little bit different. It's a little darker than other giraffe species, and their spots are different too. They're kind of like puzzle pieces or paint splatters in a way, if you really look at them. But they're very much the same as all other giraffe in quite literally every other way. In fact, all giraffe can reach about 16 feet tall on average as full-grown adults, although the males a little bit taller. Some of the males that I've seen grow up here got into even 18 feet tall, 19 I believe in one case, but yeah, they're very tall. And this one over here, all the way to the right, eating the branch, that is Rainy. He is our adult male of the habitat. He's not the father of the two young ones across the way, Sabir and Matope, but he's like an uncle to them. And he arrived from the Santa Barbara Zoo late last year as part of that species survival plan I mentioned earlier, because, of course, we need him to get the numbers up for some of the giraffe here. But hopefully to come, that's not a promise on that either. One thing to note is that we don't force our animals to breed. We'll let them just hang out, see if there's any chemistry, and if there is, awesome. If not, then oh well. That's it. Can't really do anything. Not gonna force it. But let's move up ahead and see another animal that is part of the species. See this one on our passenger side here. Now, I'm gonna roll up a little bit more actually
A donkey.
because the majority of these guys are actually uphill from us.
Allá arriba, allá arriba. Perdón, perdón,
Kind of
perdón, perdón. Allá arriba.
actually, I'm gonna look a little more for those of you directly behind me that just see the see properly. But these guys are the Somali wild ass.
Sorry.
Yes, that's its actual name. I know it's pretty funny, huh? To be honest, it's one of my favorite to say out loud on the tour because I can say that. But these guys take it